Right, we got ally soundtrack. Okay. Right, okay. In the top right, playing as the RH Cycle, we have Last Xuangod, otherwise known as Akimoriniko, otherwise, as I think we've confirmed by now, this is actually Ragnaros. His teammates playing as the Red Wings of Corellia, we have Otto. Their opponents, we have SW Singh playing as the bright blue, there we go, Scorpion Cell. His ally playing as the green Psycore, we have HJ, forming together Team Super Angel. Otto and Xuangod forming RSNDM. Scorpion Trail as the first map to play here, fairly standard behaviour, as I believe is to be expected. In fact, the map pool bans and picks have been fairly meta, and I expect the faction picks to be extremely meta as well. So buckle in, people, I'd say grab some popcorn, but try not to fall asleep, I suppose, whilst we see more of the usual play out. Got a lot of scouting here, large concentration of spooks out here from Singh compared to Xuangod's only sole spook here, but it is going to get just as much scouting information away. As Singh starts to spread up his spooks. It looks like Singh... Okay, no, we've got Lehech's spook coming in here as well in an effort to try and get even more scouting away. No cap pad, nobody's fallen for the bait of sending an engineer straight to the cap pad. So, how this game is going to play out is now up in the air. Phone move out. Singh has captured Otto's Tech Veteran Academy, and now Otto resorts to blowing it up, which is not exactly the correct call here. All he needs to do is get a couple of night frames and engineer, and he can capture that for himself. He's now stopped blowing it up. Okay, fair enough. As we see beacon detected down here, as Xuangod has moved his MCV forward in an effort to claim more ore and gems up the front line. Smart move, put that down after the second factory. Fairly standard timings as we have there. But HJ not exactly going to let that go uncontested. He moves out a sizable initiate team out here in an effort likely to try and get Xuangod to back away. Got a single Gatling tank out here from Singh in order to support the attack. Xuangod continues his initiate production, but he is completely bankrupt here. He doesn't have the initiates to hold. Puts down a Gatling tower in response, so that simply evaporates. We've got the ore refinery coming down here. The ghost miner in this comes out could prove invaluable. There are stingers, however, to offer detection, but team detection isn't a thing. Singh goes for the scatter here, and ghost miners are actually pretty damn tanky. Those stingers won't even fucking dent it, as the ghost miner here just goes absolutely ham on the crush front here. Will it be enough? As we see, well, there we go, more crushes coming in. The Asians move out of the range of the Gatling tower. They're gonna get the barracks as well here. Not looking very good for Mr. Xuangod here, as it looks like they're going to now focus out the bioreactor as well, as ghost miners continue to clean up the push here as this initiate team falls back. We've got a soul buzzard coming out here. That is a veteran buzzard as well. We've got the Tech Aeronautics captured there. Still no recapturing of the Veteran Academy from Otto. As we see more stingers, a mantis tank, more initiate production, another refinery coming out here from the HJ as they continue to mount pressure on the enemy here. So we've got a mantis tank coming in here to try and detect and force away the ghost miner here in an effort so that the initiates can do their job. More stingers out here from HJ in an effort to try and actually get his own detection. There's no AA here. These buzzards can absolutely go to town and completely unopposed. I don't even see these initiates lasting for long, nor this attack continuing forward. They're going to try and outlast them, outlast the buzzards with the power of the repair stinger as they try and snipe the ghost miner. That ghost miner looking mighty unhealthy there. I believe, yep, there goes the ghost miner. Ghost miner has in fact been killed. As the situation continues to unfold, more buzzards are being called in, no AA still. Well, okay, there's minimal AA, we've got a couple of Gatling tanks, but they simply don't have the durability against buzzards here. Nor do they really have the fire rate or the damage against them unless you get hideous numbers. As the buzzards here able to single-handedly foil this attack, as Xuangod is now going on the counter-offensive here. We've got a lot of lashes here, quite a bit of infantry being produced on the front line. But Singh is going to be able to hold, I think. He just needs a lot more AA. We're going to have to see a Gatling cannon come out here, as Singh goes straight for his tier 3 here. HJ going for a more conventional base crawl here, as we goes down in an effort to try and secure the ore and probably later gems. Okay, right. Looks like xuangod was looking to take out on the offensive here. However, Singh is in a position to deny such the attack. But this buzzard blob keeps getting larger. Buzzard blob continues to roam. As we start to hear the first tyrant opening up here from the Chimera Core. Well, I don't know if Otto knows that now, but they're definitely tyrants in the field. They start drilling. Vronia will probably be the main target of the tyrants here. Cloudpiercer not exactly very well protected here, but we're going to start seeing Roadrunner production. Engineers crop up here trying to capture the war factory. They're not successful. Whatever was here was in fact sold, as they burrow underneath and go for round 2. They might try to go for the Nanoloom next, but there is a patrolling buzzard in the area. And the MCV is indeed walled off. Another tyrant out here from Singh, but more Gatling tanks now on the build queue, as they continue to consolidate their position here with LaHJ continuing his base crawl. xuangod moving out with a largely Lasher-based force, but there are a couple of marauders included in that task force. A sizable initiate team now meeting the large, only initiate archer force here from LaHJ. Whether or not he'll be able to hold, we are, I believe, about to find out. Here comes his own Lasher force, back to slightly more marauders, and it is pandemonium here. We've got initiates firing another. I've been muted the entire time and I've been trying to talk, for fuck's sake. Okay, right. See the Marauders coming in here in an effort to try and claim the lives of the Marauder Lasher Force, but they don't get any. Another infantry engagement taking place here, as it looks like HJ backs off here, unable to land any decisive blows, but xuangod doesn't go for the counter-attack. Instead decides to consolidate his position. We've got a fake Dominator in position here from Singh that came out a while ago. However, there is also a Harbinger on the field. He's going to need to expand his power network if he wants to include a real Dominator. He's going to need at least one more bioreactor, I reckon. As we see this Pteranodon ball with buzzards continuing to expand. We see another 2 Pteranodons on the field. The Tech Aeronautics is gone, however, so they will no longer start out as veteran. sizable buzzard ball is already veteran. That maybe will count for this matter. Marauders decide to completely bypass the main army of xuangod here as the infantry move in to face tank the engagement, but there's not enough of them. They're simply being mind controlled, and they're not just walking into the enemy ball here. There's no fine control here. What the HJ is going to need in order to break this infantry team is he's going to need viruses, but the main problem here is Otto's Coronian airball here. It keeps expanding, it keeps adding to it, and it has already snowballed out of control. The HJ, vehicle-based wise, is going to desperately start to need to produce Gehenna platforms in an effort to try and keep the Coronia force away. Archers at this stage with a ball this size are not going to cut it. There are simply too many of them. We hear more drilling from Tyrant underneath the base as the fake Dominator has ended its cooldown, but the fact that it's not going off must simply indicate to RSNDM that this Dominator is fake. They will probably mark it. We've got a nanosync going down on the right hand side here, which are a couple of duplicates here. Good call. That could absolutely devastate Singh's infantry army here. Whether HJ has noticed the duplicates is up for debate. If xuangod shadow rings those and they head in here, that will be devastating to Singh here, as all of his infantry completely decimated. xuangod gets caught up by magnetism here, and Libra goes to town on a couple of Asher tanks. Be careful not to get caught up in his own magnets. He should move that magnet beam over to the Marauders now in an effort to try and isolate and destroy them, but the damage has been done already. Large infantry force, but they walk into the mind control here. That is a lot of mind control. Libra's trying to get focused down here. There's the rage generator here, but I don't think HJ can break xuangod here. Again, the Otto's Coronia ball comes in to bail him out as the duplicates move to make their move, and HJ's Marauder-based force has been completely demolished by the Coronian air blob with no casualties whatsoever. Eureka firing at the Ghost Miner here. The Ghost Miner still intact. As Otto moves around in an effort to try and see what he can snipe. There's a lot of archers here from the HJ and probably Singh as well, but there's simply too many buzzards. Look at the size of this ball. But it looks like Singh goes in instead for the counter-offensive here. It looks like he's actually finally been able to rout xuangod. Massive elite deploys here from xuangod in an effort to try and stabilize the situation, and it's a good deploy as well. He killed half the task force as the Roadrunners move in just to get some of the final crushes in. As unlikely as it looks like from that counterattack, it looks like xuangod's going to hold. Again bailed out by his Coronia ally and by some absolutely god tier elite deploys. Not often that mechanic comes into play in multiplayer outside of the campaign. It's really good plays. Looks like the real Dominator depowered Singh here as a Harbinger has entered the battlefield. Where that's coming in, I don't know. As it looks like the duplicates menacingly march forward here. No shadow ring on them. They march into the Libra force. They get two of them. They get a couple of archers here. Another clone was caught out by a duplicate. Still looks dire. Oh, that's a good Harbinger out here from Otto as it targets most of the power grid. It's going to get 3 of them if there's no AA to resist it. The next pass, these power plants are probably going to go down. There's a lot of AA in the area now. Harbinger goes down, almost lands on top of that bioreactor. They don't quite shut down the power grid. Singh's still very much powered. Coronia air block continues to make its presence known. We've got an elite unit in there finally. As it's just all out on the archer spam. No Gehennas, just Marauders out here as they continue to maneuver around the battlefield in an effort to try and put pressure on xuangod. Coronia air block caught out of position, but it's quick, but the Marauders are just as quick. But if they charge in towards the Coronia air block like that, they're going to get picked up. Here come the Roadrunners. They pick up quite a few. They get half the task force. No main casualty. Okay, one casualty there out for the Roadrunners. It looks like Malva actually picked the Roadrunner up there. Malva goes around hunting Ghost Miners. Marauder's going to link up with the Archer force. I think at this stage the Coronia player needs to break out some new tactics. We're starting to see some Draco tanks come out here from Coronia, likely to spin blade and whip and conduct some hit and run attacks. Nothing out the infantry queue though. However, Otto is actually starting to run low on cash. He is mining the gems. He does have a reprocessor. And he's got a lot of production as well. So actually, I think Otto's economy is actually doing really well right now. However, LaHSJ goes on the counter-offensive again, starts targeting out the power grid of xuangod. Here come the Draco tanks, but they're charging into a lot of archers here, and they're all enraged. Just even with the spin blade, one simple X scatter command is able to avoid the worst scenario happening. Well, goes one factory, they're going to lose more power, as xuangod is himself is not able to power his base at all. Actually, unpacks the MCV in an effort to try and escape. Coronia Air Blob surprisingly hesitant here, and I think he could absolutely wreck face. Archers enraged again, however, now they'll want to stay away. There's even more archers coming. We're going to see Tempest Architect come in here. That's probably on top of the... Oh, that's nasty, but that could have been so much worse for Singh. He's still able to keep the main ball of his archers alive, as xuangod's forces are completely routed. His MCV having completely retreated into his allies' base as the offensive just does not stop. HJ moves in order to try and take out the wind traps, depower the phone base in an effort to try and stop that Tempest firing. They succeed in the depower. Force firing taking out one of the barracks in the area that will prevent Frontier. And Zorb Floaters Eureka comes in here, cleans up a sizable portion of the archer-based force, as it looks like HJ is going to pull for the retreat here. Very good Devourer here, continues to chip away at the enemy, but that's a real Psychic Dominator, and it goes down on, I think, more power plants and war factories here. An effort to just try and cripple Otto. HJ again moves in for the counter for the attack here. I think he's going to start targeting down the MCV of Otto. However, that may not go well. We've got two Zorb Floaters here, and they will be able to go to town. But that is a lot of archers here. The Dracos move in for the emergency crushes, but it's a case of DPS. Can they save the Conyard? I believe they can, in fact, salvage the Conyard. That was exceptionally close there for HJ and Otto, but Otto there with the emergency crushes able to get in. I think if the Marauders had actually contributed to that earlier, that Conyard would in fact be dead meat. But alas, HJ did not offer such assistance, as Marauders' damage against buildings isn't exactly, well, decent. It's better than nothing, however, and I think the extra DPS would have killed it. As we see all out... Oh, we're starting to see infiltrators now from HJ here, as I believe Singh is without a barracks. Oh no, Singh does have a barracks. Singh not producing anything, but he is completely bankrupt almost. So what forces he has are pretty much it. He's going to have to want to get a war rig up here on the front and have to try and expand. But trying to defend said war rig will be a certifiable pain in the ass. That's the fake Dominator going off. As we see a refinery get picked up, another relief buzzard now on the field, another refinery being targeted, but that archer force is quite sizable. As Otto continues to move away. Sizable Draco force out here surrounding xuangod here as he attempts to rebuild. Sells off the ore refinery for some reason. I think that may have been a misclick. Nana might be picked away by Malva. Malva's going to have to want to get out of dodge as the clairvoyants are going to start rapidly closing in on his position. Honestly, despite the fact that xuangod has been sent back all the way to the Stone Age, I'd still say this game's relatively even. Team Super Angel have no response to the Coronian air blob here, as it can just go to town. It's going to start picking away refineries and start dealing large amounts of infrastructure damage, as all HJ and Singh have to offer against that is how to just drown them in archers. And the Coronia air blob can just simply outmaneuver them. It looks like Singh's going to have to try and steal money, but there's not a lot of money to steal. xuangod himself is bankrupt, and so is the phone player. As they started spending all the money, they've run out of gems here. As most of the forces on the field now are what they've got. Super Angel are the only team with money on their side of the map, really, as this large gem pit. And this side of them. Actually, no, that's a lie. This area has money. But it's going to become a question of can xuangod hold onto this area with the support of Otto? Wherever that Corona air blob is, the answer is almost certainly yes, but that is a large archer force coming in down here, and that is a large marauder force to take out the mostly ground-based armies over here. We've got the roadrunners coming in to act as emergency crush measures. I think they nailed a couple of spies. As Libra's caught out by the roadrunners, we see another psychic dominator. That's the real one, targets infrastructure down here. So it looks like they're just desperate to try and reset power. They go for the Tempest reset, they go for the power, and that's devastating! Oh dear. There's the radar reset for Coronia. There's the rage gen. Now Coronia knows when the main fight is here. They go for the Roadrunner crashes. That's quite good. The Zorb floaters here. Clean up most of the AA of the archers. And these marauders are now going to be completely exposed, but they have cleaned up most of Otto's ground-based forces as well. So all in all, I'd actually say this has been a fairly even trade. These Zorb floaters should need to be kept alive though. But Otto made 12 grand out of that engagement. We also have Toxic Strike called in on top of the wind traps in an effort to try and silence them. Trying to drown the Zorb floaters and infantry here. Interesting call. It pays off. As this Toxic Strike is going to continue devastating the power situation of Otto. Oh no, it looks like they've recalled. They almost killed the wind traps there, but not quite. Again, this Archer force still HJ still thinks this Archer force is sizable enough to pose a threat to Coronia. And the Coronia player agrees, he continues to retreat. Good Devourer there, but it's not enough. Wind trap there, Phone having restored power. You see his Soul Zorb floater in an effort to try and stem the tide of this infantry. We've got Mantis tanks coming in here from Singh as an effort to try and stall xuangod's economy even harder, and it looks like this is going to be the definitive blow to xuangod here as he loses his only con yard. He sells it off, and I don't think he even has production left. There we go. Another Roadrunner task force comes in here in an effort to try and stem the tide of infantry. Malva almost getting caught out in that, but the Malva deploy I think actually saves the day as the Roadrunners are simply caught out here. There's simply too many archers here. The Corona air blob does not feel like it's safe to engage, and with the rage it probably isn't. We've got Shadow Ring as well, as it's now just time to do all of the infrastructure possible to man. Whilst the Corona air blob just sits away outside of range. It's also being Malva deployed, trying to assist the situation and get him to become. We've got double teamed on the rage generator here. xuangod finally officially capitulates as it is just Otto left on the field. Eureka force fires the location there in an effort to try and stem the tide of infantry. Archers try to take her on. That could hurt. That does hurt, but not as much as it probably could have. Okay, now the archers have engaged the air force. A lot of them have gone elite. They're starting to chunk it down quite sizably. As they target more infrastructure, refinery sold off. Air force opens up on them, but they continue to chip away at them. As it's just pure archer spam here. They're simply... Coronia player has now been oversaturated in the target-rich environment. Dominator goes down, takes out the last set of factories and technology down there in the area, as it is just the air blob and the MCV here. It looks like the HJ and Singh are actually going to claw this back, and they take it 1-0 on Scorpion Trail. I am impressed.